and we'll not worry about that.
Let's
and then
record.
this one.
Oh, hello. Okay, we're gonna, hopefully it works. Yeah, we're live.
Oh.
We're live. Hello, everyone. Look at these leaves, though. Can we talk about it? Aren't
But it's gorgeous.
They are amazing. But I will say this: they had like a 2-day span, and out.
That's
like
not fair.
they're already turning like brown. I'm so sad, you guys. I was like, what? Anyway, good morning to Women of Wellness. Woo woo in the brain.
Oh goodness, got
Oh, we cannot listen to us talk on the.
No, sorry. Technical difficulties. So sorry.
I can barely stand to listen to myself once, much less twice. So good morning. It's Friday. Good morning. It's Friday. It's actually lunchtime, but welcome to my life. So we are here. We're super excited to be talking about the mind, body,
soul
connection this week. So shifting gears slightly out of where we started talking quite a bit about teens and our suicide videos and connection that way. And so this is sort of morphing into another direction, which I'm really excited. It's one of my passions. So I'm super excited to be sharing that with you guys. Some fun things. Natalie brought me this best gift ever. I don't know if you guys can see this really well. It's this really beautiful, like meditate. I mean, they look like us. She got us. You guys, they look like us.
It's amazeballs.
But mine says on the back, just so you know, if you have any children in your vicinity,
these are not appropriate.
watch this later, because I'm going to read to you what it says on the back of mine. This whole, I'm just going to say today, I would just play this when you're on your own time. So mine says on the back, I'm mostly peace, love, and light, and a little go fuck yourself.
Mine says, give me the strength to walk away from stupid people without slapping them.
So,
which is really difficult
This
these
is-
days. This is super difficult right now.
We've had a week. So we're so excited to have you here. So we're going to talk a little bit about how we wanted to run our Fridays.
Yes.
Because last Friday was the last one we did. I shouldn't say last Friday. The last one we did went a little longer than we wanted it to. So we don't want to make it that you guys are like, I can't listen because it's an hour and a half and I want to die on the inside. So
Jen and I could talk for
we
literally days.
Can and do. So
If you give us coffee, seriously.
I know, right?
days.
This is a bad idea.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna say we're gonna try to keep it to a half hour, 45 minutes max. We're gonna really try to keep an eye on the time for you guys to make it easier to plug into over lunch. There will always be funny stuff. We're not gonna ever come in here and be super serious. We just felt like there was enough going on in the world that's so serious that we needed to have a little levity. At the end today, stay again super inappropriate but really fun meditation. I can't wait to share.
I'm so excited
with you all. So you're gonna want to hang around for that at the end. So that's kind of how it's gonna be. We're gonna include some humor and just some kind of visiting in the beginning of each thing.
Yeah.
Then we'll get into some content, and we'll always try to wrap up with either something that's funny or fun or playful, or like Natalie and I'll play a little game for 2 minutes, or I'll do a little meditation or a mindfulness practice. So we'll kind of show up with some fun stuff at the end to wrap up for our Friday as well. So it'll always hopefully be like a fun sandwich.
Yeah.
Right?
Little
It's
fun
a fun
on the sides, some serious stuff in the middle.
Yep.
But we aren't very serious even when we're talking
Even
about
when
it.
we're teaching. Exactly.
It's gonna be fun.
It
so
will be
this
fun.
will be easy. It's the end of your week. Most of you are working from home, so you're already COVID fake working anyway. It's just lunch, right?
Exactly.
Just join us for lunch.
You've got the time. It will be more fun to show up in person.
Yeah.
In this way. If you have a question or a story to share, it's so much nicer to be able to do that right when we're in here.
Yes. What's that?
My husband
Real
working
life?
in the garage.
Did you hear real life at the door? I did.
My husband's using his little air blower to clean
that's-
something. So if you hear a little psh, 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 psh,
That's what it is.
that's my husband. So I was talking about.
I don't know. I
showing
only
up in
have
person.
the attention span of this.
Oh my God, showing up in person.
Comments, please. Ask us questions.
That's what I was going to say. So when you're with us live, you get a chance to ask questions, add in the comments. We have an iPad over here rolling so we can watch that and monitor because the actual camera is way too far away for that for old people. So please know that is a reason to show up in person. So I'm just going to say, you can always rewatch it anytime. That's amazing. We get it. That time doesn't always work out, but I would love to see you in person. Love to have your questions.
Yes.
Because the questions make this really more fun and organic than just Natalie and I yammering, which we are yammer
Which we're
experts.
good at.
We're yammer experts.
But
So we want to start with some fortune telling.
Okay.
For your Friday, and our light over here, we have a light ring that's legitimately
Gonna sear our
eye-searing.
eyeballs. So
Yeah,
this is Zoltar. And for those of us that are a little older, from the movie Big, yes, with Tom Hanks as a man-child.
Yes.
That goes and gets a
I'm not gonna
girlfriend and
even
an
make a
apartment
comment.
in New York City. 'Cause that happens, right? That was his fortune.
Yeah.
So this is the same one in the same Zoltar. I'm gonna kind of port it forward because he's hard to hear, but we're gonna hear what our fortune is.
Okay, ready?
Ready?
Okay.
Hear your fortune from Zoltar. Sometimes you can tell a wise person not only by what he says, but also by what he doesn't say. Remember, it is much better to say little than to say too much.
So apparently Zoltar was hearing what we were just saying.
The pricelessness of Zoltar telling us to shut our flaps is pretty priceless.
So that happened.
Okay.
He also has
Extra
cards. So I don't know. Do you want to pick one? Should we do
Well,
that?
I mean, we've already been told we should shut our mouths.
We
Okay,
should
ready?
shut our
Okay,
mouths,
one
but pick
more
a
for
card.
this Friday. All right, this says, oh, and it's lit. You guys, can you tell I'm aging?
It's super
I
little.
see a great deal of happiness in store for you. Thousands of candles can be lighted from a single candle.
Look,
and the
it's right
life
here.
of a candle will not be shortened. Spreading the light, friends. Oh, you can see the ring if I switch
know.
like this. Okay, sorry.
Oh, yeah, don't move.
Happiness never decreases by being shared. So if an object you ardently pursue brings little happiness when gained, remember most of our pleasures come from unexpected sources, like my mug this morning. Share the good news when it arrives, for happiness is like a sunbeam, which the best shadow shall intercept, while suffering is often as the rain of spring. That's weird. Is often as the rain of spring. Enjoy this varied, I don't understand what that said. With that being said, it said to share happiness. Look at
Share
what I have for
happiness and don't
Natalie.
talk too
Natalie
much.
didn't even know. I got us matching stick. So here we have swear words on our mug, and I got us water bottle magical stickers that say "Be the change you wish to see in the world," which is like our favorite quote ever.
Oh, I love it.
I saw it and I thought of you, and I was like, you need to have that.
I
Okay.
need to have that
Like
in
all
my
about gifts
life.
up here today. So we're going to talk about funny things here. So remember I said ditch your children or put your earbuds in, because I'm sure there's swears coming.
Yes.
There are swears.
There are swears coming. And Natalie
forthcoming.
will use the F word several times today.
Maybe more than that.
Maybe more.
Maybe more than that. So, okay, so fuck the rules of 2020.
Fuck the rules of 2020. The fuck the rules is really that 2020 has no fucking rules.
That's a fact.
2020 showed up and was like, oh bitches.
Yep.
We're just gonna do whatever the fuck
We're
we
gonna
want
go like
up in
this.
here.
With your lives. You know how you had
Screw
that
your
thing you
life.
liked the way that it worked? We're going to teach you how to be flexible this year. That's what 2020 taught us all, correct?
Yeah.
So your version
Yoga for
of
your life.
for life for 1 year. So your fuck the rules of 2020. What? Tell us your story about.
I'm gonna
Because that
tell
made
you
me
first.
laugh out
Well,
loud.
first
Because I
of
thought that
all-
was fantastic.
First of all, it has a little bit of history. So people who know me know that I work way too much, and I have a chronic problem of taking my Christmas tree down on time. Most years it makes it into February. Now, my daughter, who came along 5 years ago, 5.5 years ago, was born in February. So I had this brilliant idea one February not to take it down at all, just to put only the red and pink
Of course.
decorations on
Sure.
it. And then we started making decorations for it. And now it is a tree from November to March.
It's got a life of its
with,
own.
with purpose, right? Well, then I decided 1 year to also, actually it was 2019, I decided to do a March tree. So then we did shamrocks,
St.
St. Patrick's Day, and then it came down. Then last year, because it was 2020, we left it up until the end of April.
Yeah.
And in April, it was an Easter tree, and we decorated it with Easter stuff.
Yeah.
Now, I did eventually take it down over the summer, but I saw a meme the other day that said, listen, 2020 ain't got no fucking rules. Put up the tree. That's what it
Christmas
said. Put up the tree. And I thought, hell yes, I'm
For
going to
the
put up
joy,
the tree.
for the joy.
For the joy of it. So this
Yeah.
weekend, it's going up. It's
I love
going
it.
up. We've got pumpkins. We've got jack-o'-lanterns.
fantastic.
We got webs to put all over the tree.
So cool.
We are super excited about it.
That's so cool. So I love that idea, and one of the things that piggybacks for me on is the idea of being the boss of your own energy, right? So that we get to decide how we want to show up to things. And 2020 has been a clusterfuck for all of us, right?
Yep.
All the rules went out the window. Our normalcy went out the window. It's been a scary, hard, stressful year. If I was being honest, I mean, that would be my summation, is that it's been entirely wrought with stress. So I love this idea when you talked about that of being the boss. It's like that's taking it back into your own hands, like empowering yourself to like, I'm going to put a little joy in. And so I think that is absolutely awesome sauce that you're doing.
Yes.
So I don't have a great one, but I have a good story. So this is my story. She had the Christmas tree thing, and I'm like, okay, so here's my story. Oh, hi, Mike. What's up? Mike's in the house. Okay.
She can see that. I can't.
I can, like, from really far away. That's probably how I'm going to read my menus pretty soon. But anyway, so, okay, so this week I talked about, we're going to go woo-woo right away. So
Okay,
I don't know if you
right
know which
away.
one of us is woo-woo in the brain. Woo-woo.
Do you have to guess?
Brain. I mean, I don't know is a far cry. Okay, so this week I talked about creating an offering on a little altar. I don't know if you saw my post. Okay.
No.
Okay, so
I've seen a lot
and I
of your posts this
knew
week. This one I
I
did
knew
not
I was
see.
going this way, and all my followers were going to go this way. They're going to be like, "Oh, what the what?" Like, because it sounds a little bit like. Are you ready? Okay. So I bought this thing. Talk about synchronicity. I buy this at the store when Natalie buys Zoltar. I'm like, we need a screaming goat. I don't know why we need a screaming goat. Intuition is like, we need a screaming goat. So in my post, I talk about, I'm not, like, when I talk about offerings, I'm not like, like, we're not killing goats. This is not on a big, like, stone altar while I wear a big black robe and there's black candles and right. Okay, so here's the deal. Whenever we get a little too woo-woo, I might have my goat handy, but I want to say this. I think one of my goals is to make mainstream these ideas and the things I'm talking about.
Yes.
That they aren't as kooky and cracked up and weird and woo-woo as I think that we believe that they are. And I think my experience and journey has been, and I had a really great conversation, one of my good friends from high school popped onto Instagram when I said it, when I shared my post, and he was like, he's like, that's kind of interesting. And I go, interesting, bad, or interesting, good? He's like, well, both. And so we end up having this really cool exchange.
Lovely.
And I'm always really grateful for people that kind of show up like an open mind. Like, so let's talk about this, because I think we get stuck in a certain way of thinking about how to engage in spiritual practices of any kind. And the irony is that much like your Christmas tree is an offering and a ritual.
Yes. True.
And so we use that language, people go, but it's like, Christian. I get it, friends. I have one every single year. I absolutely love it. But we do these things in other ways, and it's just a terminology that I'm using to talk about it. But I want it to feel a little more mainstream and not be so, crazy that people don't feel like they can try these things themselves. So it's why I've started sharing a little more private practice, because I know it probably will wear people out a little bit, but I think it's not as crazy and woo-woo as you think. So that's my encouraging all of you to step into some of this with me as I share some of those kind of more unique things that you might not know about me or spiritual practices, but I think they're super fun. And fuck 2020, that's how I'm showing up. So here's me and my
how did I miss that?
I don't know. It was beautiful. I'm in a class on a goddess right now. I'm doing a class online.
Yes.
I'm always learning. And one of my mentors, one of my very favorite people on the planet, recommended we create this small offering. And it's just a little plate with some beautiful rose petals and a little glass of a combination of water and wine. And so I put some extra beautiful things around it. And it's just saying, I'm so grateful. I'm recognizing and giving gratitude for the wisdom that this goddess has shed on all of us. And right now, if she's empowering me, I'm grateful for that. It's not, I'm not praying or I'm not right. I think people get really weirded out by this, and it's my visual. So every day I go in, I do a little meditation there and move on with my day. So that's why I shared it, because it's beautiful and it's simple, and but people get weirded out, like they imagine witches and cauldrons or weird things. It's like, no, it's not, man.
Which we also put up at Halloween, so.
Which is all. I'm not even judging that. I'm just saying, right? That's why I want to kind of try to expand people's horizons of like, how can I engage in these things? And it's for your own personal spiritual growth. It's not about anything else, guys. Right? It's what you make it. And I'm a blend of all of the spiritual pieces. So that's kind of why I like to bring that forward. So anyway, I thought I
What
maybe
happened?
I thought I maybe had a hummingbird. I was all excited.
We were
Okay.
excited for a second.
Let's talk about the mind-body experience. Where are we doing? Okay,
We're doing good.
we're good. I'm just making
good.
sure we're clipping along for y'all.
Yeah.
I don't want to so here's the sacrificial goat. So if we're feeling weird, I'm going to leave it right
We're
there on
just
the
gonna,
table.
and how does this guy work?
You push it down.
Then do we fall over? Because then we're going to go through it.
That's a fainting goat.
Awesome. Yes. Awesome.
Yes, we will also fall down every time we do this. Okay, so I'm going to leave it to Natalie to talk to us about the brain, how that connection happens, and then we're going to just
Just gonna rift away.
We are.
Well, today's about the mind-body-soul connection.
Connection.
Mind-body connection. Mind-body-soul connection. I wanted to just spin a little bit about what's the science behind mindfulness. So we are going to get to do a little mindfulness activity at the end. I'm so excited about, because it has the F word in it, and pretty much anything with the F word in it, woo, it's mine.
Don't bust out. You guys are going to die. You're going to die. Just hang on to the end. Hang on to the end, friends. Hi, Corinne. How are you?
But really, I mean, how many times have you been in a therapy room doing therapy with somebody and they're like, why are we talking about this mindfulness?
yeah, if you've ever
Why
been
do
with
you guys
therapists,
keep
you
harping
know.
on the mindfulness? Yes, I'm supposed to be here and now.
Meditation.
Blah.
Blah, blah, blah.
Well,
This is why.
we store so much in our bodies that our mind has decided to cut off from our awareness. So, when you get so much stress day after day after day after day, and you're just feeling tired all the time, and there isn't enough coffee in the world to keep you going, but somebody asks you, like, well, what is it? And you're like, I mean, there's nothing new. It's just the same stress.
Yeah.
Well, it's the same stress that you haven't dispelled, you haven't worked through, you haven't processed, whatever word you want to use for that. You haven't transcended,
I like that.
digested.
Digested. You haven't digested the material
Right.
yet. Yes.
It gets stored in our bodies, and our bodies do get worn out. And eventually, that's the part of us that sometimes shuts off and says no more room at the inn. And then you're sick, and you can't, you just can't go any further. So I wanted to talk a little bit today about kind of this mind-body connection and what the brain basis for it is. So the thing that makes humans human and not another species is that we have this ability to do metacognition, which is a big fancy word for thinking about our thinking, right? And that we ourselves, whatever that consciousness is, whatever the soul is not indeed the thinking of the thoughts or the thoughts themselves. So let's do a little activity. Think for yourself for just a minute. You can close your eyes if you want, you don't have to. But in your mind's eye, I want you to think about a really pretty fall tree. And I want you to add all the colors to it that you like to see in a fall tree. It could be these beautiful yellows, but could be those oranges or those more red colors.
I'm putting them all in.
All in.
All in
All
one
in. All that foliage. Just really imagine that tree in your mind. And now open your eyes or just come back to us. Are you that tree?
I don't think so. I mean,
I don't think so.
But
I don't
am
think so.
No, I'm just kidding. No,
Nope,
I'm
you're not that
certainly
tree. You are the thing that thought up the tree, right? You gathered that information from somewhere in your brain. You put that picture into your mind. The problem with stress is that we often get really into the trap of believing we are the thing that we are thinking. Believing that we are broken. I am broken. I am not able to do this. I won't be able to handle this. All of those things are thoughts. They are not you. You are the observer of the thought. Mindfulness is an activity that helps to beef up the muscles behind knowing you are the observer and not the thought.
Yep.
It comes from the medial prefrontal cortex, which is, if this is the brain,
I knew the hand brain was coming out.
The
brain's coming out.
This is the side view of your brain.
Oh.
This frontal lobe right here. If you open up your brain, the very center is our limbic system, and the limbic system is where our emotional minds come through. But it shoots, the limbic system does, into the frontal lobe, for different reasons, neural pathways. And the first place it really passes through is what we call the medial prefrontal cortex. So it's really in the core of the frontal lobe, which is what makes us human, thinking about thinking. And it's kind of the watchtower of all of the brain. It is that place that really can kind of look over all of the stuff, and it can put things into perspective quite literally. So we know that we are more than the sum of our parts. So that's where mindfulness is really activating that center of our brain and helping to kind of beef up the neurology or the muscles around our ability to do that. There's also, though, this ability of that limbic system. So again, if you have, this is the side view, this is your frontal view, flip it open, this is the limbic system. The limbic system is one of the oldest parts of our brain. It's called the reptile brain. And when we are scared, when we are in fight or flight or fall or freeze, we can override the frontal lobe with that limbic system. The limbic system sees a tiger and it wants you to bolt. It doesn't want you to think about what's the best route to bolt. It just wants you to go. And if you get caught by the tiger, it wants you to fight. And if the tiger really has a better hold of you, it wants you to play dead. Because if you could do that, then maybe the tiger will get bored and walk away and you are allowed to stay alive. It's our survival strategies. So this limbic system, when it's activated with our stress over and over and over, shuts down the medial prefrontal cortex and tells our front brain that we don't need to think about this. And this is where we get caught in not having the ability to kind of, what's the bigger picture here? And that's why we think that mindfulness is really helpful. We also think bottom-up processing activities are helpful, things like yoga, because if you're looking at the side of your brain, this whole part is your spinal cord. It's going to come down the back of the base of the brain and into your spine, and it can calm our limbic system bottom up, from your body up. But it also can store things. So if your brain isn't going to tell you that you're stressed, it also might send it through and have, different places in your body where it's storing that stress. There's a lot of research that shows that things like cancer, things, immune deficiencies, any kind of heart disease, these things are all exponentially going up when you have more stress or when you have adverse events that have happened through your childhood. So depending on how many of those events you've had as a child or how much stress, toxic stress you had to live in, you have just exponentially more of these medical health issues, because literally the brainstem then sends it back into the body, and the body is going to store that because the brain can't handle knowing that it's under that much stress. You can't leave childhood abuse, right? So most of the time the brain goes into that fall stage, it plays dead. And what that really means in real life is your brain doesn't tell you that you're in stress. It tells you this in your family where you're getting yelled at every day is normal when it isn't normal, because you can't know that it's not normal, or you might stir in the tiger's mouth and it'll kill you. So you have to live with it like it's normal, but somewhere in your body it has to go and work itself out if it can. And that's why we get sick physically.
Yeah, I would encourage you to think about, a way to think about this is that your cells hold the memories. I know that's kind of a weird way to say this, but I think this is how I would talk to clients about, like, your cells are holding your cells are holding those memories. And so there is this really important piece of working that out on a body, soul, deep level. So as a therapist, I worked with trauma for, oh my word, almost 20 years. It ended up being a specialty because it just showed up in my office all the time. I was like, okay, clearly this is a calling. And that is absolutely true. And one of the things as I treated it, I felt like I was getting tired of feeling like we weren't always getting to the whole answer, even doing therapy. There was this experience of like, this is working, it's helpful. That's not dissing traditional therapy in any fashion, because I believe in it firmly. But I will say that there was moments where I was like, I'm not sure this is soul deep, this healing you're doing. Yeah. We're doing healing. But we need to do healing. And so there's this combination of both, which is also indicative. I talk a lot about both halves of your brain, is that we need to heal both. It's the whole brain needs to heal. All the cells need to have some healing. And so that was what prompted me to really kind of go and do yoga and meditation and things like that, because, someone's calling me right now. Perfect timing.
Awesome.
So we're just going to wait for that call to pass for a minute. Sorry about that, friends. So that was kind of, like I said, one of the things that really prompted me to do something different was we need to do body healing. We
Yeah.
need to, so one of the things we know is that in yoga, and I will not speak to this in any depth, in yoga, in classes, if you're going with someone that's experienced as a teacher, they will talk to you and say, sometimes when we go in postures, you will find that you will feel emotional.
Yes.
And your hips are strangely one of the areas, and I scientifically do not have an answer for this, but I will tell you that in general, the hips are one of the areas where we tend to carry a lot of our stress and strain. Mm-hmm. And so if you'll go into a posture and hold something that's a hip opener, sometimes all of a sudden the waterworks happen and people are like, oh my God, I'm losing my shit. Why am I crying in yoga? Who said we were going to cry in yoga? And what you're doing is you're actually releasing. And so that's what I think happens is in that practice as so here's what you're learning from yoga. And I could pontificate about this all day long. The coolest thing you're learning about yoga is the combination of your breath and movement. Okay, cool. On a very big, broad level. What I think yoga is actually teaching us, though, is getting into postures to be more flexible in life, mm-hmm. to learn to let go of your comparison in your mind, to let go of your mind's expectations, and just settle into something. And what you realize is you are more capable than you know of managing even a pose, which sounds really funny, right? So we work on balance and flexibility, but all those things are mirrors for life issues.
Yeah.
They aren't just about a physical experience of being balanced or things like that. So I love that idea. And that's really where I started kind of going was, I'm not sure. I like the holistic version of working with someone better than just the talking. I mean, I did talking for 20 years and I can talk, yo. Yeah. And I'm a good listener, which I know you might find hard to believe. But I really felt like I was missing an element and my clients needed it. And I was sending them out for services all over the place for energy, Reiki, yoga classes, meditation. I was like, dude, I can do some of this stuff, yo. Yeah. So then I just started educating myself in that way after educating myself for so many years on the mental piece. That brain, mm-hmm. that brain experience and the talking and the undoing that way, which is crucial. I would never say to someone, do one without the other. I think that they marry. The reason that we talk about this mind body.
You honestly need both.
I do.
I mean, one of the other pieces that we see now in the research is that there is kind of a limitation to verbal processing.
Yeah.
Some people who have been through really tragic things, they happen pre-verbally. They happened when they were infants or toddlers. So there is no reaching that through verbal processing at all. Right. But many of the things, you know, as I was explaining earlier, even if they happened while you could verbally process, are now stored in your body because your body decided to shut your head off, essentially. And so you need both.
Absolutely.
In order to really fully, you know, understand stuff. People have insights all the time about, oh, okay, now I see that connection, Dr. Mar, and then it still hurts me. Why is it still hurting me? I know better now. Why am I not doing better now? Well, because probably the cycle is very much trapped in where your body is in that bottom up processing and not in necessarily knowing better. Now you know better, how do we get, you know, this part of your brain to fire at the same time as the limbic system is and start to make those neural connections?
Can you talk for a minute? Because I really liked this conversation you and I had about children's play therapy. And we won't talk a long time because I know that's not why we're all here today. But I really loved this. Because I think that talks about the bottom up. So when you're talking about that, it gives a structure for like, I know it's not rocket science, but it's nice to have that other example. Like that was a beautiful way to talk about it.
I don't have my books with me, so I'm gonna, I'm gonna say this and somebody's gonna like tell me that's not exactly
This is
true.
The best form of your knowledge.
It's pretty true. Yes. So the neural pathways that we create in talk therapy are really what then become structures in your brain that help you going on in life. Verbally processing something and creating new connections can take somewhere around 400 passes, 400 times of neurons firing at the same time before they wire together. In play therapy, that takes about 30 to 40 passes because they're all in. They're imagining and they're playing with their bodies and they're thinking with their mind and they're talking to you at the same time. It takes about 30 or 40 times to make those new neural connections for those children. So, like that's all of it happening bottom down and or bottom up and top down processing at the same time. that there's a reason for that organically they get through that.
I just think that's so cool that what you're getting at is that they can have this really visceral experience and be healing actually more quickly than if you were just talking with them. And that's, to me, that's where I think we're getting, is that it's really looking at that entire spectrum where I think it's the most, you're going to get your biggest bang for your buck. And honestly, your most comprehensive healing is the way that I would say it. And it's really a way to live our lives, you guys. I mean, I want to say too, we're talking a lot about healing because we're coming from a therapeutic perspective and history. The truth is that all of us need healing. All of us have had tough experiences. All of us have daily stress. So the truth of the matter is that these skills and tools are literally for us all the time.
Yeah.
They don't require, so really your best living, if I had to have like a recommendation, would be incorporating these exact experiences in some format, right? Everyone's different. You like certain things. You just, I have people say that they meditate while they run. I have people meditate while they're woodworking. So it does not have to look like a certain, I'm not sitting in my white robe in my, position of whatever oming to death. That's one way. I really love that. Mike, my friend Mike, was like, I don't know that meditation's for everyone. And he's exactly right, but we can do these tools, mindfulness and meditations, in a lot of ways, you guys, right? Yeah. So I think it's about getting out of that way of thinking, always breaking outside of the box, which I think is probably one of the things that is my jam from the time I started practicing, which is like, let's think outside the box. There is an endless amount of creativity we can throw at something, and each person is going to need something just a little bit different. And they're going to have just a little bit different experience. And that's actually the beauty. For me, I get excited when someone has an experience and it's like, it's not going to be like anybody else's. So their experience of doing energy work or even therapy or like a meditation, they're going to come out of that and have a totally unique print on it, which I think is so beautiful. And that for me is, I'm always learning because it's so cool to see. Somebody's going to go into a meditation and have a very visual, like I could see the tree we were talking about. Some people can't do that. I did not know until a little while ago. Did you know that some people literally cannot imagine things? That is a thing. I did not realize that some people actually cannot visualize. And so one of my teachers says, so you might see this tree in your mind or imagine you do.
Yes.
And her language is saying it's okay to pretend to see the tree if you can't see the tree in your mind. So we're all wired different. Somebody might have a sensation in their body instead.
Yes.
Right? So our sensations might be telling us something before our thoughts tell us.
Yes.
Or our thoughts might tell us before our bodies tell us. Or I might have a, I'm trying to think of another experience where I think that but my point is, and I'm not getting there very well, my point is that because we all learn differently, we're going to heal differently. And how we're going to have an experience is going to look very different as well. I'll have one person that I'm working with doing healing work that will say, I felt your hands were very warm. That's how they felt. I have one person who was like, in my mind, I saw a white feather and I had these things. And I was like, that is, I'm like,
so amazing.
But that's all of the differences of people you're going to get. There isn't one right way to do those things. And that's what's really beautiful, is making space for us all to show up and do that however
and to tap into your internalized wisdom, which is another, I think,
huge
aspect to this, that people have the answers locked inside.
Absolutely.
I mean, kind of the antidote is buried with the poison inside of you in a way that different methodologies tap into it, but allow that to organically come from the inside out as well. So I think that's another thing that we're talking about here, is that if you think outside the box and anything and everything could be possibly helpful to people, just different people at different times for different reasons, then it really opens up the possibilities of tapping into that internalized wisdom that you know is there.
Right. Exactly. I think that's just awesome. So anyway, that was our piece. We wanted to make sure that we dropped out there for wisdom. How we doing on time? We're damn close. We're damn close though. We're getting there. So questions, if anyone has them. I see it looks like maybe Rami signed on. Hey, Rami.
I don't know why my comments aren't working.
So Natalie thinks she's in like Facebook jail.
I'm in Facebook jail. I don't know what I did, but they don't like me on Facebook right now.
That's hilarious. So she's like, for some reason, not getting. So I don't know if you've asked any questions. If you are, please feel free to post questions in the comments. If you have questions or comments, make them as well. Please feel free. So what we're going to do is I'm going to, do you have any other thoughts before I do my...
It won't come here. You'll have to look at it on that little baby screen.
Yeah,
right
and all I
there.
see are the people that have showed up or
I'm
clicked
watching.
through. They have clicked through.
Yes.
So, okay, so any other wrapping up thoughts though?
Just had to do it. It's had to happen.
Just for fun.
Had to happen.
Just for fun.
Sorry.
So I will do our reading, like I said, if you have small children or children in general, have them exit the space, put in your earbuds, I'm warning you, or turn off your Facebook temporarily, come back and watch it later because I'm just saying,
swear.
just put your seatbelt on. So, this is called,
I love this.
Fuck That. An honest meditation. So I'm going to read this to you. So I would tell you to close your eyes, but you don't want to because you'll want to see the
I'll close
pictures.
my
They're
eyes.
very, okay, so you can, okay, but you
I'll
want to see the
demonstrate.
pictures? Do you want to see the pictures?
Oh, shoot. I
All
do.
right, so it says, everyone who wills can hear the inner voice. It is within everyone. Mahatma Gandhi. This book is a physical act of mindfulness. Look how pretty that is, you guys.
It is so pretty.
Isn't that beautiful?
I love beaches.
And then it says, by reading these words and turning these pages, you will make your way to a more peaceful you. Look at that.
Beautiful.
That sunset. It's beautiful. Let's try it now. Picture a thing that makes you want to choke a motherfucker. I should have warned you. Now feel yourself release that thing as you turn the page. I'm turning the page for you. Release that thing. Just like that. There is no strife here. Only a clear, calm place. Just wait.
Oh, God.
Turn the page again. Look at that beautiful stack of rocks. I love rocks. And feel the horse shit of the external world fade from your awareness. I can't with her next to me.
Sorry.
I'm trying to read it all meditative like. They're just not helping me. Let this meditation help you find peace with the challenges that surround you because they are fucking everywhere.
True that.
Every fucking where. Am I right? I like the question. There's a philosophical one for you. Am I right? Here you cannot be ensnared by anyone's dumbassery. Not even your own. Not even your own. I know. If you find your mind wandering to other thoughts, don't let it concern you. Just acknowledge that all that shit is fucking bullshit. Yeah, I love the pictures. Are so beautiful and
They
peaceful.
are.
Allow yourself to be lifted to the very best parts of you, leaving all the flightless shitbirds behind. I challenge you to use that a couple times this week, okay? Where they fucking belong. Leave the shitbirds where they belong.
Amen to that.
This is a new place in your life, clean and clear, free of calamity created by every last ranch hand at the fuck up farm. Those bitches can't get under your skin.
That's the best.
They can't even.
Oh, man. They can't even.
Oh. Take in a deep breath. Now breathe out. Just feel the fucking nonsense float away.
There you go.
You know, ironically, it did feel good to take even just one nice breath
It
there.
does.
Breathe in strength. Breathe out the bullshit. Praise be to that for your week.
Praise be to that. Yes.
Oh! If your thoughts drift to the three-ring shit show of your life, bring your attention back to your breathing. Praise be to Jesus. And with each breath, feel your body saying, fuck that.
I think throughout the week we should just throw out some memes and just say F that.
Maybe just people need that.
Just people need
Your
that.
thoughts become lighter, and all the soul-eating cocksuckers just fall away into nothing. Did I tell you this was not an appropriate child? I'm just telling you. I warned you. That's all I can say. Let each turn of the page guide you to a new place, away from lingering thoughts about things you can't control. Those could be the only 2 solid pages in the book where there's not a...
I think the first two.
The first two
the
are
first
not so
two I
bad.
like that. Oh, that's
Away
beautiful.
from the soft whisper of doubt and concern. Oh, there's another
That's a
couple.
pretty
Look at that,
one.
guys. That's
I like
beautiful.
that.
Away from the cul-de-sac of useless fuckery, waiting at the ass end of worry. That needs to be a t-shirt.
That needs to say that again. Let's
Away.
listen to this.
We're gonna repeat it. Away from the cul-de-sac of useless fuckery, waiting at the ass end of worry.
I think that needs to be just tattooed on my body.
T-shirt at least.
At least.
T-shirt or meme at least. Simply turn each page. Oh, it's like the North Shore, friends. To the next page. Until the final page. Where you greet the world and everything in it with a new, beautiful breath. Oh, fuck that. So this is by Jason Headley. I'm gonna hopefully
love it.
and this is fuck that, an honest meditation.
That might be in people's Christmas.
So for
list.
those of you that are like, meditation's a bunch of bullshit. I understand. And here's what I want to tell you a secret about my entire spiritual journey, which is what I told my friend online. My entire spiritual journey has been built on believing that things were weird until I did them. Chanting was freaking weird till I did it. If you told me I was going to teach people about goddesses, I would have laughed you off the face of the planet. So there's so many pieces of things that I now incorporate into my daily spiritual practice.
Yeah.
That 5 years ago, and you know who taught this was Jen Sincero, who said in her book, How to Be a Badass, I believe that's the one where she says, she was like, self-help stuff was a bunch of bullshit. She was like, this is just stupid. She was at a time in her life, she was struggling, she just couldn't see the value in it. And all of a sudden when she started partaking in it, she was like, oh, this actually isn't bullshit. I was like, right. So
because
that's right.
this is from her. Because your brain is your bitch.
That's exactly.
And if
you
tell your brain to do something, it will do it.
Yes,
it will. If you don't pay attention to what's getting told to your brain, it'll do that too.
That's exactly right.
So this is why self-awareness is so important.
It is, absolutely. And so the combination of things is just fantastic. But I just want to say that some of the things that I've done, I think spiritually, I definitely think sounded and felt very weird until I actually had an experience of doing them. And then I was like, oh, shit's the money. Okay, so we're going to wrap up. I am going to announce I've Got Us on the Go series, which is going to be starting. That is for women.
Please do this.
That is
So
in the beginning of
amazing.
October. That is a small, intimate group that's online, of course, still in this day and age, which sucks. But we are going to dig deep and use some goddess stories and archetypes just as a reference of symbolism for how women can really step back into self-care and loving themselves again, which is just a huge passion of mine. So I've got that going on. I've got a free chakra class coming up.
What?
Bitches! Tuesday, October 6th.
You need to do this because do any of us really know what chakras are? No. But Jen
I did not
does.
either. I did not either. So I didn't even know chakras. What the hell is that?
Amazing.
So that's another fun thing that's going to be coming up. That's free, and that's just for anybody that wants to engage in some of those conversations, understand a little bit more, or if you're partaking in some of my process stuff, I'll talk about them. And so then it's like, you're not like, what in the hell is that?
Yeah.
So I created it so that people could start to really get where I was going with that. So that's coming up on Tuesday, October 6th. And again, that's free. You can always sign up on my webpage. Is there anything else we've got going on?
So I tried, but failed, to put this on YouTube live today. So we are going to post our things on YouTube. I am going to try and create a WooWoo in the Brain channel or folder in a channel or whatever you do for those things.
What you said.
So it's going to be there. So you can see and, replay these and find them more easily than just through our Facebook feed.
Because as our Facebook feed stacks up, you'd have to it's not like horrible, but you have to filter. We don't post abundantly in there.
No.
which is probably really okay because we want it to be content laden. So just so you know, I mean, like every once in a while, Natalie or I'll pop something in there just because we're being inspired by something. But really, we hope that it's our content that's kind of filling that up. But you don't want to have to sift through 80 things. So if we can get it on YouTube, but we're not cool enough yet. So here's the thing, friends. If you go over to YouTube, if you can like our channels, like subscribe,
Please.
that's going to help because I don't think we're cool enough to do lives yet. We
No,
went in and tried and they were like,
it might be what that is. It might have like, oh no, and you're not cool enough. So sorry.
you don't have enough
So
followers.
sorry.
Our 5 followers will not institute a live post.
I don't know. I don't understand.
We don't either.
So there's that. So we're going to have that.
Yes.
And I also would like to invite you in our Facebook feed, on our Instagram. So it's Women of Wellness Min, MN for Minnesota. Women of Wellness Min is Facebook, is Instagram, is Twitter. Please post in any of those forums any questions that you would have about WooWoo
Right.
and how it relates to the brain. Because we are going to be your experts on how woo-woo is real science.
It is, exactly.
It is real science.
Oh.
So today, mindfulness and the mind-body-soul connection was just kind of one of the pieces that Jen and I brought, but we would love to hear if you have questions. I will try, and she is going to try actually to come up with some questions we heard or hear routinely from our clients to kind of spur some of these as well.
Yeah.
But gosh, if you're going to be watching, we'd much rather answer for you. And if any of you are brave enough that would want to just join us, because we have figured out how to make you be a split screen with us on Facebook Live. We're fancy.
We'll see.
We're fancy. We would love to just, to riff whatever questions that you bring forth. So,
Sure, for
thank
sure.
you.
And you can also direct message us.
Yeah.
So if you're not, I know not everyone is as vocal or comfortable posting things, please feel free to direct message us a private something. I have had a host of people in my life do it that way. They're not as comfortable being real vocal, but it is okay to say, hey, I had this question about this. Would you guys be able to plug this into one of the talks? That's so fun, you guys. And so please feel free, either, very openly all the way to maybe showing up in a post with us, to direct messaging us if you're feeling like you just don't want to be that out there. So, well, with that, Natalie. All right, you guys. Woo in the brain. Have a great weekend. We'll see you guys back here in 2 more weeks on Friday at noon for your lunch hour. Take care, guys. Thanks. All right, we gotta go shut it off now.
We're not
We're not that fancy. Gotta turn it off.